as far as the business of boxing.
The best thing is a fighter needs to take almost everything.
You paid all that money and had the biggest stage in boxing on Netflix, and that is really the best they could do?
He knew that he could not beat Bud Crawford, which is why they basically paid him $100 million.
Canelo recently spoke about his fight with Terence Crawford and admitted he did not give his full effort. On Joe Rogan's podcast, he explained that he held back after his loss and chose to fight at a slower pace. He said he stayed flat-footed and allowed Crawford to look stronger than he really was. Canelo also revealed that money and business played a role in how the fight went. He claimed he was paid to ease off and avoid fighting with his normal intensity, which changed the outcome inside the ring.
Well, how does that work? Because it's not pay-per-view. Do they still...
Netflix putting up the money.
So I'm saying, so they don't get no back end then?
No, there is no back end. There's ticket sales.
Yeah, because you know, pay-per-view, the back end is the most.
There's no pay-per-view.
I guess if you give me $50 million up front, I don't really care about a back end.
This statement backed up what many in boxing were already saying right after the fight. Fighters and fans noticed right away that Canelo did not look like himself. His jab, which has always been a key part of his style, was almost missing. He did not build combinations or push Terence Crawford with his normal rhythm. Instead, he threw single punches, stood in place, and showed no urgency as the rounds passed. The punch stats told the same story, showing some of the lowest numbers of his career. At first, people thought age had caught up to him, but his admission changed how everything was viewed.
He don't have the punching power, but he has the skills that's necessary.
Crawford.
Yeah.
So you were very impressed with his performance? Would you say?
Well, yeah. You know, the point of the matter is, you know, I knew if it came down to if somebody got knocked out, I thought Crawford would probably get knocked out.
Yeah.
But I know
Oscar de la Hoya was one of the first people to raise doubts. Just hours after the fight, he posted online questioning what he had just watched. He said Canelo looked slower than ever and weaker than he had ever seen. He asked whether Canelo even trained or if something else was going on. For de la Hoya, who promoted Canelo for many years, the performance did not make sense. This was not how Canelo usually fights. Having watched him in past training camps where his speed and output were clear, de la Hoya felt this version was completely different. Watching the bout against Terence Crawford, he did not believe age alone explained it.
When he got hit by Crawford and he took that deep breath, it's frustrating. Don't get me wrong. Canelo facing the right opponent that's going to stay in front of him, that's going to fight, that's going to make it a brawl, Canelo knocks him out. So I'm not saying Canelo's shot or done. No, it's far.
Veteran fighter Gabe Rosado also shared his thoughts, and they matched the same concerns. He said Canelo fought with heavy feet, threw no jab, built no combinations, and relied on one punch at a time. Rosado said that kind of showing looks like a fighter long past his prime, not a champion still holding belts. His comments lined up closely with what Canelo later admitted himself. In past fights against Golovkin and other top names, Canelo used a strong jab, sharp combinations, and constant pressure. Against Terence Crawford, Rosado pointed out that none of those usual strengths were there.
Watching Bud catch those shots off his glove,
he looked amazing.
So amazing.
Yeah, he looked good.
Yeah. He'd go to a body and he'd catch that and come up with an uppercut. You know, just all those things that seem...
He looked great.
Yeah, I've never seen anybody do that to ever.
No one has. Yeah, he's the best.
Canelo. Ever.
Yeah, he's the best.
And I think he would do that to Canelo on his best day. And Canelo said it, he goes, I couldn't figure him out.
No.
Which is...
Claressa Shields believed Canelo's body was breaking down. She said he could not move anymore, could not throw combinations, and his legs were gone. To her, it looked like the natural end of a long career. At the time, that view made sense. David Benavidez, one of Canelo's most vocal rivals, has long claimed that Canelo avoids certain challenges. Before the Terence Crawford fight, he said Canelo chose opponents where he had the advantage and stayed away from real danger. After the fight, Benavidez repeated that Canelo no longer wanted risk or tough tests.
Do you have any advice for them as far as boxing business?
Because, you know, the fighters always get the less money, and some of the fighters they need to take the money, the guaranteed money, right? Because they don't make a lot of money in the fights, right? But they are as a fighter.
According to David Benavidez and many others, Canelo was chasing the biggest payday. While some fans were shocked, Benavidez said this was nothing new and believes this is what Canelo will keep doing. Oscar de la Hoya later told Fight Hype that the result was less about decline and more about style. He pushed back on the idea that Canelo Alvarez is finished but said the future depends on smart matchmaking. De La Hoya explained that if Canelo faces the right opponent who stands in front of him and is willing to fight, it becomes a brawl and Canelo wins by knockout. He said Canelo is not done at all, but everything now depends on who is put in front of him and how much money can still be made from fans.
You see, Canelo is a strong fighter, and every punch he throws comes with power, right? That breaks down the body. Physically, his body is breaking down. Plus, he just had a kid. Canelo wants to go enjoy his life. He wants to keep his wits, keep his mind together, stay sharp, and go enjoy a little bit of that money that he just made. But he could not pass the torch to somebody that didn't respect the game. Canelo's at the top of the list. But Terence...
According to De La Hoya, there's this belief that Canelo can still win at the elite level, but only against styles that favor him. Eddie Hearn sees the situation differently. Speaking to Sports Illustrated, he emphasized the commercial and sporting weight of a rematch with Crawford. For him, the real hook is whether Canelo can silence doubts about retirement. Fans want to know if Alvarez will show adjustments or if Crawford will push him further toward the exit. Canelo could surprise everyone with changes in his style, Hearn said, pointing to the Mexican's past ability to reinvent his tactics. He believes Alvarez can re-equip himself with a fresh skill set to put Crawford in real trouble.
Mac, you've been training Crawford for years. Is he retired or is he going to keep fighting?
He just got to take a break.
Is Terence Crawford retired or is he going to keep fighting?
He's going to keep fighting.
He's going to keep fighting?
Yeah.
You're the man. Be man. Hey, congratulations. Enjoy the win.
Thank you.
In the first fight, Canelo started strong. He controlled the opening rounds, landed crisp counters, and kept Terence Crawford on edge. But the momentum changed in the later rounds. From round 9 to 12, Crawford took over, landing cleaner punches and putting Alvarez on the defensive. Many observers felt that stretch decided the fight. Eddie Hearn believes that if Canelo handles the later rounds better in a rematch, the result could be very different.
We already know, we knew Crawford is a great fighter, and I did what I supposed to do, right? I tried for every way, and I trained really hard, and he deserved all the credit. No, I try.
Chris Eubank Jr. shares that optimism, calling a second fight huge and saying Canelo has the tools to rewrite the story. He believes Alvarez's experience and power are still unmatched if used properly. His support reflects what many fighters think. Canelo still has dangerous weapons but must be willing to adapt. Trainer Robert Garcia also supports a rematch, saying hunger will be key. Garcia told Fight Hype that Alvarez must avoid the mistakes from the first fight and use his power from start to finish instead of easing off late. Across the sport, the message is the same: Canelo's skills are still there, but his drive to use them fully will decide his next chapter.
I would love to see the rematch. I think in the rematch, if he comes back with the hunger that he needs, he could beat Crawford. Because Crawford, is very talented, but I think Canelo could beat him. Canelo's strong, man. Canelo's strong. Canelo could take a good punch. So I think he could just go and don't respect his punch and throw punches even though you're gonna get hit, but don't.
For Terence Crawford, the win over Canelo has opened new opportunities. However, there is debate about who he will fight next. Some analysts think he will avoid the toughest challengers. Fighters like David Benavidez, Dimitri Bivol, Diego Pacheco, and Bektemir Malikov all bring size and power that could challenge Crawford's skills. Facing them would be high risk with uncertain reward. Many expect Crawford to pick opponents with big names who bring big paydays but less danger, such as Jermall Charlo or Hamza Shiraz.
A potential rematch, as a Canelo fan, I don't really want to see that. I don't think there will be much difference. I don't think Canelo can bring anything to the table that's going to surprise Crawford. He's a different fighter now. If this was 10 years ago, yes, I think the fight could have gone a different way. But there's no point in even thinking that, because Canelo's a different fighter now. They fought today. They fought when Crawford is older as well, so I can't be trying to say, well, Canelo's not in his...
The business side of boxing is a big factor here. Crawford's win has put him in a spot where he can command huge paydays, but choosing opponents carefully will decide how long he keeps that power. At the same time, Canelo's choices will also shape the sport. If he goes after a quick rematch with Crawford, the fight could draw massive global attention. If he takes a different path and faces a more favorable style, it could show that his career is moving into its final stage.
Between Terence Crawford and Canelo, personally, I do not want to see a rematch. Usually rematches are in order when it's a very close fight and you can't really tell, which fighter won. There was a lot of close rounds, swing rounds. That wasn't the case in this fight. Terence Crawford won pretty handily. I personally scored the fight 9-3. Being generous, you can give it 8-4.